a future Nikola Tesla, and tell us your name and what you do for a living.
Hi, I'm Maxwell Lahin, and I am a physicist, inventor, entrepreneur, and, well, I guess change maker. I'm 13, and I feel like I can change the world, and I've already started my positive impact on it.
What have you done? How have you changed the world so far?
So aside from inventing a whole bunch of different stuff that probably won't matter now, but my most recent thing, which has gotten me a little bit of attention online, is my energy device, where I extract electromagnetic energy from everything around us and convert it into electrical energy. In other words, a stream of unlimited energy. So, you know.
So, do you think you can solve our energy crisis here on planet Earth?
I believe I will, and I believe I already have solved the main problem. Now it's just a matter of, getting this out there.
And what do you need to be able to get this out there? You just need somebody to watch this video and say, here's some money, or what do you need?
Well, all I can think of really is support, Throughout history, people like me have been prosecuted and killed, murdered, and a lot of other very horrible things. And if I have support from a lot of people, I don't think that that will happen in our modern day and age. We're a little bit too civilized for that. So all I'm saying is that if you think the world should be a better place too, then, just support.
Okay, so we started off by talking about my book, E equals MC squared, and the new definition of God, and you told me that you had already come to the same conclusion 3 years ago, and
Yes.
that my book was a dumbed-down version of your theory, which I think it's clearly the case. What is God?
So, a lot of... we're in the United
Okay,
Nations.
yeah, and people walking around down in the basement here. Go ahead. What is God?
Okay, so a lot of people think God is, quite in the biblical sense, a guy sitting up on a cloud who controls the universe, frankly, and has created all life. But my definition of God is not like that. I don't believe God is person or entity. God is just another form of energy, or actually is energy himself. Well, not even himself, itself. For the fact that you look at the Bible and other really, awesome but extremely vague and unreliable sources in religion that, hold these sources that we find and facts that we find, or so-called facts that we find, and really a lot of people think it's just about faith. But if you relate the Bible to quantum physics and apply most of the laws actually in less of a figurative sense, but more of a literal sense, and replace it with things like the universe, you'll eventually find out that it explains in-depth quantum physics and astrophysics, experiments and theories. Well, maybe not theories, because maybe now they're proven. Who knows? Maybe the Bible isn't a story of something that happened on Earth, but maybe a story of how our universe began. For the fact that, honestly, I don't really buy into the literal biblical sense, like, God is literally a guy who looks like us, who sits up in an alternate realm that's in our clouds and, watches over all of us. But I guess you could say that he's an energy form that created all, and is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. God, or energy, lives within us, through us, and is us, frankly.
So you said what? That God is the energy that is in us, created us, and is us. Is that your definition?
Yep.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Sort of, yeah. God is energy. That's my thing. And I mean, like, you look at dimensional theory, and eventually we have, a singularity at the beginning of the universe that is energy. And then, eventually that begins to slow down in vibration due to entropy or some other law of that sort. And then, first you get photonic light, and then that slows down, and then we get matter, and then that slows down. And then who else knows what comes next? We have gravity, and then we have time, all coming in at one sense. And I mean, does that sound like origin story to you? It kind of does a little bit to me. But, maybe that's just a coincidence. Maybe these philosophers, or unreliable monks, we call them, that lived up in the mountains and wrote this weird book that doesn't have any factual evidence behind it, maybe they were quantum physicists ahead of their time, and maybe they're just trying to tell people, who lived a crazy long time ago, that there is an entire new quantum world out there. But, education wasn't too good back then, so I guess they had to simplify intense quantum physics to something that a 5-year-old can understand. Thus the Bible, right? So, just saying that it's a coincidence. It's not fact. I'm not saying anything's anything. I have a very religious grandmother, so,
I have to tell you, I let you kind of struggle with this because I realized the question was a little bit perhaps impolite to some people. And the way you handled that was a way that my political and business clients, if they did it as well as you, I'd be incredibly proud. So the bottom line is that we keep evolving, right? And the Bible was written and different ways to interpret it. Now, you said something about the Bible and using the letters going backwards in the Fibonacci theory. Can you explain that? Because that's amazing.
In certain parts of the Bible, you can get literally, if you convert the letters to numbers...
Speak a little louder if you can.
The Fibonacci sequence, if you invert, of course. But in certain important parts of the book, you'll take certain parts out and you'll get numbers, which seem random, but they're actually frequencies of resonance that line up with what's called the Fibonacci spiral. And the Fibonacci spiral is kind of weird for the fact that it's called literally God's thumbprint, which is a little bit weird considering that we have spiral galaxies, spirals in our thumbs, spirals in our ears. Literally almost every organism on the planet or object we have found has had some sort of reminiscence of Fibonacci in it. And I don't know, it's called God's trademark or God's thumbprint, but I don't know. It's just a coincidence, I guess.
So if you're the reincarnation of anyone, who do you think it would be, or who would you like it to be?
I honestly think that I'm Max Lawhan, and that's who I am. So I'm going to say Max Lawhan. But I'm very proud of and quite a big fan of Nikola Tesla. I mean, I'd like to be the reincarnation of him, but honestly, I think I'm just a student of his many teachings.
That's amazing. What's the favorite thing that he has invented or theorized about for you?
Honestly, I really like his work with electrostatic pulses when he harnessed Tesla coil powers and used it to wirelessly transfer energy through people, around people, and how he could light himself on fire but not be hurt by it, and that was pretty crazy. So I really like that.
That's very cool. So just a couple more questions. You're extraordinarily inspiring, and I agree with you on your definition of God and wrote a children's book that basically says that. But you then, before when we were talking about infinity and different universes, and so we've kind of identified God. God is energy, right? All the energy in the universe, that's God. It's not a guy in the sky, it's energy.
Energy isn't something that you just have. Energy is all and can't be. Not all the energy in the universe, it's energy. Energy happens to consume the entire universe and every other parallel dimension or universe that can ever exist in our dimensional reality, but...
Are there other universes? Are there other dimensional realities?
Dimensional realities? I'm not sure if we can prove that yet, but we do know that there are other dimensions.
Okay, how do you know that?
Well, there's an infinite number of numbers, which means there's an infinite number of frequencies that we can calculate. And if there's an infinite number of frequencies that we can calculate, that means there's an infinite number of frequencies that mass can take. And if mass can take an infinite number of frequencies, there must be an infinite number of dimensions. But as of right now, I'm beginning to question string theory and M theory for the fact that I believe that there are more, mathematical dimensions. Yes, I'm actually quite aware of that. But then again, imagine we're looking at this from a fourth dimensional perspective, we can always go up one dimension from there. We can't say that there's a limitation In other words, we know that there's dimensions below us, but we've never even gone into negative dimensions even. And to even contemplate the fact that if we were at the top of the dimensional scale, there'll have to be something above us. In other words, if you're at the top of a dimensional scale, we have to have some sort of limitations, right? Everything does. And if that has limitations, then it opens up an entire new set of dimensions. And then, you know, what happens when they're at the top, and then they're at the top, and continuing on and on forever, I guess.
So Brian Greene, the famous physicist who wrote The Elegant Universe, said that the universe, that what reality was infinite universes expanding infinitely. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
And if in fact there are infinite dimensions and infinite universes, is it possible that someone named Max and someone named Richard are having this very same conversation in some other dimension?
Probably. There's an alternate universe probably where we're having this conversation 1/1,000,000th of a second after we started this conversation. So, yeah, I'm probably guessing.
Why not simultaneously?
Well, I suppose something has to be different. Maybe that person walking over there wouldn't be walking, or maybe he's walking 1/1,000,000th of a second faster than he would in the other universe.
So what happens after we die?
I don't know. Our bodies rot in the ground. The end.
But do we continue in some way? Is there reincarnation?
Well, we know that we obtain consciousness, or, you know, I think, therefore I am, right? Well, we must have some sort of energy force to do that. Some people say it's neurons, but if you look at consciousness more, we understand that it really is an energy. And energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transferred from form to form. So it's, I guess, some sort of, has some feasibility to it, but I don't know.
So last question. If you could do anything or be anything in this lifetime, what would you do and or be?
I just want to invent a better future. I don't care if I get money or credit or whatever other people want for some reason. All I'm looking at is to make the world a better place, to advance it, to bring the future just a tiny bit closer to today. So I think that I'm really just want to invent and maybe educate a little bit, maybe just make the world a better place as much as I can. And I believe I can do that through technology. So.
Thank you. And you're how old?
Oh, I'm 13.
When are you going to be 14?
In about 9 months. So.
Cool.
Oh, is it 9 months?
I can't believe I've stumped you on this. You've answered all of the questions about quantum physics and the universe.
7 months.
Anyway, you're an amazing young man. It's been an honor to talk to you right here at the United Nations, in front of the United Nations bookshop. And keep on contributing your incredible, unique genius to the world. You have inspired me and the people watching this, and many. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for letting me talk.
Take care.